everyone, your designers are here.
I'm Anita with Cedar Hill Farmhouse.
And I'm Yvonne at Stone Gable.
And I'm Kelly with My Soulful Home. And we have tips and tricks and decorating advice for you. So let's get started.
Today is episode 47, Deciding on an Accent Chair. Okay, today we're going to talk about one of our favorite things, accent chairs.
Everybody needs one.
Sigh, swoon.
Everybody needs an accent.
Beautiful
At least
French
one.
chairs, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Before we get into the fabulous, like the fabric and all that.
The fun part?
The fun, yes. Let's talk about some of the fundamentals of choosing an accent chair. What sets an accent chair apart from just a regular old chair that you use every day?
Well, it's got a little wow. It's got a little something going on, a little flair. Or it can. It doesn't have to. But you can definitely get away with a bolder pattern or a different color or a different texture in an accent chair.
Yeah, and sometimes they're not the kind of chairs you can flop on either.
Okay.
Sometimes they're more decorative.
Do you know, your styles are a lot different than mine, and I was really thinking about this. I don't think there's an accent chair in my home that we don't use a lot. And I think it just is a matter of our styles. Let's talk about things that you have to think about when you are going to choose an accent chair.
Well, like any furniture that you're going to put in a room, you have to think about the scale. So maybe an accent chair, I don't want to say it's an afterthought at all. It might be something you're waiting to see how, what you could fit or a pattern that you might want to accent what's going on. But it might be not purchased at the same time that the other pieces are, the more foundational pieces like a sofa or if you have a sectional or something like that. So you want to think about the scale not only of the room itself, but the scale of what other furnishings you have in the room. So you don't want it to, even though, it might be really cute in the store, it might be too little or it might be too big, if you want a big comfy one.
So, Kelly, that's very interesting you bring up size because I've noticed over the years that they're making accent chairs or chairs smaller in general than they used to, which I really like that they're smaller. And I think the reason that they do that is because so much of furniture is shipped these days.
Oh,
so you've got to get it
practical need, Jane.
Well, because it's going to be a little bit cheaper for them to ship if it's a little lighter weight and the box is a little smaller. Then plus people are getting it in the box, so the box has to fit through the front door. So I think that's why things are smaller these days. But I really like the smaller size. Some of those huge chairs, I don't feel like they were as attractive,
and they're not as practical.
And they took up so much space.
Like the chair and a half, as we all might remember, but the big chairs and a half with the rounded sides. Yeah, but I'm not talking about smaller is fine. I'm just saying you don't want it too small when it's playing off the other pieces in the room.
I agree. And I think, Kelly, when you're ordering online, you have to be especially careful about that because sometimes it's really hard to tell the exact size. So
you have to definitely know the size.
Right. And I think Yvonne has talked about this before. Doing the tape on the floor is a lovely way to kind of...
No, I'd love to take credit for that, but that was Kelly.
Kelly. Okay, I thought that was a great idea.
I was just going to let that ride, but it really is my brilliant idea. Yeah.
She was going to give you that one.
I was just going to give you that because you're so smart. Just tape off an area like, I want to fill this space with an accent chair and sort of tape out what seems right for the space. And also think about the height of the back. Is it going to be blocking a window? Is it going to be in front of a window? Do you need something higher in the back because you want to fill the space a little bit more? So those
or do you want it to feel more open? So you might want a lower back.
Or at least a more open back. But here's my rule of thumb when it comes to the back of any kind of an accent chair. It should be at least as tall as half of your back. It's like a normal person's half of height of their back.
Absolutely.
Because then it's just downright uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Whether you're sitting in it or not. And I know you girls have some that you call show chairs. Here's my.
They're
You
not
can
the
sit in them.
forbidden show chair. I just say my two have sort of become that because people don't necessarily go in and flop on them, which is secretly fine with me.
Yeah, well, we won't tell anyone.
Yeah, but if any of you came, I would let you sit on them. There's
And
one
I
for
just-
each of you.
I've got some leather bergère chairs that are kind of they're fancy because they've got they're French and they've got the beautiful legs. But I've had some kind of manly men come over and say, this is oddly comfortable.
No, they're really comfy. Yeah.
So some
Because they have a wider seat.
right. So
Yes,
just
yes.
because it's
Don't say,
poofy-
that's because you have a wider seat.
No, you're not saying that. You're
Excuse
saying, oh, yes. Here's my take on an accent chair. Depending on where you can put it, you can go a little smaller. You don't want it to be terribly out of scale, but you can put some other things around it to sort of fill the space, but don't go bigger. Don't go bigger and be out.
I don't think you usually need to fill the space. I like empty spaces.
So do I. But if it's a little on the petite side and you just need to have a little more oomph, but don't go bigger. Accent chairs are accent chairs. They're not the star of your room.
Yeah.
Words to
Well,
live
although
by
they
is
can
all
be-
I can say.
Well, you say they're
Yes.
not the star of the room, but I'll tell you that is for someone who has my style, the kind of a country French or farmhouse French style. Having a French chair in the room is just such an easy way to add that to her. So it can become quite the star.
Well, it's an accent to the room.
Yes.
That's
But it can
for
add
sure.
some big wow
Yeah,
or ba-ba-boom.
okay. I'll give you that. I'll give you
Okay.
that
So
depending on the fabric.
let's go back. Let's get on to those fundamentals. So we talked about scale. Do you have another fundamental?
I also think like the height of the seat is so important.
Yeah.
I'm tall and my height is all in my legs. So it is so important for me when I buy it for the comfort of my home to buy a chair and be very careful about that is high enough and to be very careful about the height from the floor to the top of the seat.
Well, and what Yvonne said too, I wanted to add about the roominess of the seat, because I do buy a lot of vintage chairs. So keep that in mind. If you're buying a vintage chair, really, I'm talking about the antique chairs. The antique chairs are made for a smaller tush. So just keep that in mind. They are smaller, so just keep that in mind.
Historically, people have small tushes in the 17th century.
Well, that's true.
Poor things didn't live long.
And
they didn't have time to get big tushes. I don't know.
And the seats were lower to the ground than they are now. And I'm just very, very aware of that anywhere I go. I always look for the seat that's the highest from the ground. And I know you probably have that opposite problem, Kelly. You're looking for the ones that aren't quite so tall because ideally your feet should rest comfortably on the
Are
ground.
you saying her little legs are just swinging from the chair?
Well, I just know that she's not too much. She's not
Like
much
Ruth
more
Ann?
than what 5'2" or 3", right? 5'3",
I'm
I
5'4"
think.
and a half, mind you,
Oh,
lady.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
you're my
I
height.
thought you were.
Oh, my
I
goodness.
thought you were.
No, and I have my feet firmly planted on the ground in my bergère accent chairs. But no, there are
She's
sometimes.
putting you in the child seat, I can tell.
Exactly. No, it's true. It's true. Sometimes I'll sit somewhere and my feet don't touch the ground, and I'm not that little. So imagine there are people. I mean, I'm little, but I'm not that little. So there are definitely people on the shorter scale that would not be so comfortable in some of the chairs that Yvonne would be comfortable in.
Right.
So, yeah, it's something you might not think about. You see a chair in a catalog or online, you're like, oh my gosh, I love this chair. I love the lines. I love the fabric. I love the price. I'm going to get it. But maybe, scroll down. Take a moment, sister. Look at the dimensions.
Well,
and
that's
make sure it's going to work for you.
Yeah, that's a good
And
point
then-
because they will have it on there, the height of the seat to
Right.
the floor. And I know because I was buying some for my daughter's room and they were to go at a little table where she eats sometimes. So I really had to think about that clearance between the seat and the table. So do be mindful of that.
Are you
number.
two going to make me relive that painful memory when I bought all those metal chairs for my dining room?
I'm just
No.
saying, don't be like Kelly.
And if you want to know why, check out the Blenders episode.
Oh, God, yeah.
That was a great story. The other thing that I think we have to look at is are you going to have chairs that with arms or no arms? And that makes a big deal in your comfort.
Right. And are they padded arms or wood arms? So that's also
true.
an issue.
Yeah. And so then that brings up the whole issue is, are we talking about comfort or are we talking about style? Are we saying comfort over style? Style
Well,
over
we're
comfort?
always saying style, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But we can get some comfort in there, too.
We've recently, within the last year, got an accent chair for a family room, and it sits sort of in an awkward corner. You wouldn't think many people would sit there. It's a nice space filler. And other than my recliner that does not look like a recliner, and you can listen to that in one of our past
Yeah, Kelly and I are going to fight over that one.
Oh, it's gorgeous. And everybody fights over that. This little accent chair is the next one they love because it somehow like wraps itself around us, and it just feels so cozy. And it was very inexpensive. The fabric's beautiful. That's why I bought it, thinking, oh, this isn't going to be used and it's just going to look nice. And it certainly just absolutely is one of the most used chairs in my house. So because of that, I have no accent chairs that don't get used.
Well, you have all those company all the time. My goodness, I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
And
then
so lots of people to sit down.
So also talking about these foundational issues, I do buy a lot of vintage chairs. So I do have to say you're going to have to be careful when picking out chairs if you're buying vintage to make sure that it's going to be sturdy. Because we have had an issue with chairs breaking, kind of like the
Goldie Locks.
Yes, kind of Goldie Locks-esque.
Yes.
I mean, the chairs were, so I've had a few that weren't that sturdy, and then I made the mistake of putting one in my daughter's room, and as the legs started to splay out, she kept sitting on it. And it just kept going down and down.
Do you have a chair guy that like will repair that for you?
I gave it away. I think I put it by the curb. I just was done with it.
And I drove by and picked it up.
Chair. Yeah, a chair guy picked it up. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Do you have somebody, when you get one of these old chairs, would you buy one that's a little rickety?
No, because I think you can get that fixed, but that's kind of something that I don't deal with. And so if it's rickety, I pass.
Okay. How about you, Kelly?
Yeah, I have had a rickety situation where either the price was so good or the chair was just so great, and I decided to go for it. And a few without upholstery, I have fixed myself with some wood glue. And
you did it yourself. You have a guy for everything. You don't have a chair guy?
I do have a chair guy, but but if it's just the fact that the pieces or the sections are not holding together anymore, wood glue works great, but you really have to get one of those little braces that is kind of like a little vise, and you can just get that at the hardware store, and you have to sort of figure out what section. It's hard to give a exacting tip on which one to get, but you have to look and see what section that you need so you know what size of that little vise to get, and then you put the wood glue on and you tighten it up.
Oh, you go, Kelly.
If you've got some time, you could just stand there and hold it. But wood glue takes a while to dry. But if I'm buying a vintage chair or an antique chair that needs to be reupholstered, which is more so the case if you're finding something for an accent chair, I would think you might want to have some upholstery on it. I definitely have a guy, and he also in part and parcel of the upholstery process, he checks all the legs and everything like that to make sure that everything is still working well and is tight, and he'll make minor repairs for that as well.
Yeah. And then you bring up a good point, Kelly. If you're buying vintage, it's not like going to the store where everything's brand new. I mean, you're gonna be stuck with whatever they have on hand, and 99% of the time you're not going to like the fabric, or if you like the fabric, it may be quite expensive because they've already done the fabric for you. So keep that in mind. You're probably going to have to reupholster it, ignore the fabric, and make sure you find a guy who knows how to do that.
And but you know that reupholstering something is usually fairly expensive. It's usually going to cost you more, especially if you got a deal on this. Oh my gosh, this great vintage chair, and I got this deal. Just know, in your mind, build in the cost of the upholstery. I would say it's going to at least be one and a half times probably what you paid for the chair in very general terms. It is
Well, here's
generally
the
going to be
deal, though.
more than you paid for the chair.
Well, so if you're looking at vintage, I would not be doing it to save money, because at the end of the day, if you're replacing the fabric, you're probably not going to save money. So
Sometimes.
Right. Well, just
Ooh, she's got a
generally-
story.
Yeah, no,
speaking.
I bought a vintage chair several years ago at Luckett's, threw it in the basement, and I'm in the process of repainting it. And I have a guy, and I just looked under reupholsterers in my town, and actually I found one. And he works out of his home, and he does beautiful work. He's so reasonable. I can't believe it. So I have all my relatives coming up from the D.C. area with their chairs and with everything because they want this gentleman to do it.
Oh, yeah. That sounds great. I might come over.
Seriously, when you come, bring your chair. He is just awesome. But here's the thing. When you're done with a chair like that, you have a one of a kind.
That's
yeah.
right.
It's just a real
and I usually
part of your personality.
I usually use antique linen grain sacks a lot. So these are antique pieces. I mean, and you'd think, oh, it's antique, it's already frayed. Those grain sacks make fantastic upholstery fabric because they're just so thick and sturdy. I mean, they were made to hold all these grains. So yeah, I mean, so you can definitely, and a lot of times I use some of them with monograms. So I mean, they really have a one of a kind look then that you just can't get in the store.
Exactly. You're not going to see your chair coming and going.
Your style is so different than mine because I basically buy like 90% of mine are new.
Yeah, well,
and
that's
I get them
certainly easier,
online
for
or in
sure.
more. But the options are so much more.
True.
Just the options. If you,
But
just,
you don't have to deal with the reupholstery or checking joints.
No.
and all that stuff.
Now I did buy a bench that I totally, because it was a good price and it looked pretty nice. It was the wrong color. The wood was wrong, so I repainted and had it reupholstered. But for the most part, no, I don't. But now we're sort of getting into the fabulous when you find something that you really love. It's fun to be able to choose the fabric and even to choose the stain or the color of the wood you're going to paint it.
Go ahead. Clean out your closet. Then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their ultra stretch super wide leg pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants. Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. You know, we're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about. Visit greenchef.com DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So an accent chair can be something you find and you buy it right off the floor. TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Home Goods, they have great little accent chairs. And that's something you could hopefully just toss in the back of your car and then it's done and you put it in the room and you've got this little wow. But if you want to go the other route, you know, we're here with tips on that too. Definitely just keep in mind the upholstery might cost you a little bit more. But the two chairs that I most recently had reupholstered are these Bergère chairs. I was in my favorite hospital thrift store. They were coming in with these chairs. Oh my gosh, you guys
should just follow them around.
Oh, I was like a moth to the flame.
Yep.
And I was like, I saw no people in front of me. I was like, get out of my way. I'm going right over to the fellow that I know, and I was like, are those, have you, because they won't put them on the floor unless they've sort of assessed them first, and they decide what they're going to price them at. I said, well, they haven't, no one's taken a look at them yet. You're going to have to wait. And I was like, okay, should I wait with them? Like,
first dibs.
And you should have seen the fabric. It was so awful. But as soon as they priced them, I bought them. And they are fantastic.
My daughter and I, Evie and I were having coffee one day at right next to the antique store, which was kind of an antique mall. And I saw somebody carrying in these two hand-carved Italian Louis XVI black leather chairs. And I said, excuse me, I'll be right back. And I came back with the chairs.
And here I am. Anybody who just is, those kind of chairs are not your thing as an accent chair. I have a great post on how to choose an accent chair. And we're talking like one out of a store or online. And also, I think I have 15 or 20 of my best picks that are very reasonable.
Nice.
So what are some sources that you guys like to head to other than thrift stores and antique stores for accent chairs?
Well, for me, it's just, I'm sort of an online girl anymore. So one of my favorite sources is, I love Wayfair.
Yeah, they have great stuff. They really do.
Yeah, and I've gotten some lovely chairs from Birch Lane. Right. Which is
the
owned by
little
the same
accent
parent.
chair I was telling you about that I love so much, and thought, the fabric's so pretty, but maybe not everybody's going to love sitting in it. That's the chair from Birch Lane.
Oh, good to know.
And I've gotten some nice ones from Soft Surroundings, too. So that's another source.
Yes.
You know what? I always forget that they have furniture. I always think of more, clothing with them, but that's so true. Okay, so I have a tip, and this is something you have to do a little work to find out about in your local area. But Restoration Hardware has outlets, some places, but they also have these warehouse sales annually, and they sort of move around like a pop-up store. They have one in San Pedro here in the LA area, so that's maybe 45 minutes to an hour from my house. And I found out from a friend, and I felt like you were getting really the inside scoop on it. And I went one day with the girls I don't even think we were in the house yet. And I don't know why I took Ava and Laura with me, but I did. And this will be great, and then we'll go have lunch. Well, it was in this giant warehouse. It was about 120 degrees in there, and they had nothing interesting for the girls. I was thinking maybe they were going to have some of the teen selections, but they didn't. They had a lot of furniture, but a lot of the same furniture. So they had a lot of outdoor furniture, they had a lot of armoires, and they had a lot of chairs. So it was I was so excited. I ended up getting two gorgeous accent chairs for it had to have been almost 90% off. The chair that I purchased that I'm actually sitting on right now was $70.
Oh my god! Stop it!
My
yeah, and then another one I got for one of my girls' rooms, and it's similar, tufted in this really beautiful linen, but hers is a white finish. So I got that one.
Sounds beautiful.
And then I got a small armoire that I keep in the foyer for shoes and things like that. And then I got my outdoor furniture, the big sofa that I had coveted in the catalog. And so all those pieces, obviously, I couldn't put in my car. So they had delivery service. So here's my tip. If you're interested in something from Restoration Hardware. See if you have an outlet. But also ask your local Restoration Hardware store about warehouse sales in your area. I know they have them in different areas in the country. I looked it up online just to see. But again, they move around. So even if they don't have one in your area this year, maybe next year. And I believe they do them in the summertime.
Nice. And the other thing I wanted to say too is if you want something with delicate hand carving with kind of some walnut or fruit wood, you're going to have to go vintage because a lot of the new furniture is made from mango wood and you can't do that kind of carving on there. So it's not that delicate carving. So, that's something to keep in mind. I mean, just even the legs on the French chairs, they're much more delicate if they're vintage. So, but not to say I don't, I do buy some of the new ones that are the mango wood. So I've had some, I like those as well, but it just keep that in mind. Kind of, again, think about what kind of look you want.
And here's another idea. I think that if you have a more, I want to say everyday look, that's sort of what I have. Like, it's up to date. I don't have much from, I have vintage things, but not a lot like of chairs. Mix them in because the chair that I'm redoing is old, but it's going to look really beautiful with my more modern looking furniture. It's just a really fun, again, accent. Yeah, and the same if you have like a French design or something that leans more towards the vintage, once in a while, like didn't you, Anita, get those blue chairs?
Oh, yes.
And they were beautiful and they were very, I would call them, more up to date or of this style or of the moment. And they look beautiful with all of your vintage things because that accent is going to give it a little pop.
Right. And typically the vintage chairs, I mean, sometimes the chairs just are totally dated. You're just going to have to, just ignore them or don't buy them. But usually the chair is still in style. It's just the fabric that's out of date.
Oh, yeah. I have a thing for chairs. I really rarely find a chair that I would want to pass by. I just love chairs.
I know. I'm a little. I know. It's. I have a bit of a fetish with the chairs. I love them.
So, and we've been mentioning this type of chair, this French chair, the bergère chair, and it's just fun to say. Everybody say it. Bergère chair.
Bergère chair. It does.
So you've seen them. Everyone. So even if you think, what kind of chair is that?
And I have several.
Right. And if you want to see them, you can see them at Anita's house. And I'm going to show you mine soon, too, I promise. But
I don't think I have a one, but maybe.
Well, listen up, baby. You do.
Okay.
It's sort of an enclosed, in a way, upholstered French armchair. The back is upholstered. The armrest, there's an armrest, arms, and sometimes there's a little tuft of upholstering on there as well. And then the frame is usually upholstered around, but then there's the wood of the legs and the wood of the arms.
Right, and they tend to be in the
I know exactly what you're talking about.
They tend to be in the Louis XV style, which is the curved legs.
Right, and when you say French chair, it kind of sounds like it might be not that comfortable or a little, the back might be straight. Well, these are designed for comfort and for lounging, in effect. So the as we were talking about the tush section, so the bottom, the base is a little wider and sort of tailored. I mean, you could have the welting or you could even have nail heads or something like that, but it's a little bit looser. Like it's just there's a little excess. So it is really comfortable. So that's the style that we've been talking about. Anita, is there anything that I missed or you wanted to clarify?
I was going to say that a lot of times they come with a matching ottoman. So they're meant for lounging.
Yes, a matching ottoman. Now I'm coveting a matching ottoman.
And I think I've even seen them redone with a little tiny skirt around the bottom.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that I see them too often with a skirt. But I suppose
But I have seen them done, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But a lot of people are doing this style chair now too. You do not, if you like that style chair and you think, I would just like this, something like that. Google bergère chair, and we can put some sources in the show notes too. You do not have to be standing at your local hospital thrift store when they walk in the door.
Yeah, they still make them, so it's not. You don't have to buy vintage.
No, it's just a really great style. It goes with so many different types of furnishings too. You could even throw one in a more modern house, and I think it would really look great.
I think so too. I'm going to be looking for one.
Chair.
You always say that,
but it's true.
I know that Anita, you said that your favorite fabric for a chair is grain sack.
Linen, and especially the grain sacks. But
think
I
I've
also
seen a
use
few of
homespun
yours.
linen sheets. I use those as well.
Oh, okay.
They
How
hold up
about you,
very well.
Kelly? What do you like to use as far as fabric? What makes your chair beautiful? What fabric would you put on it?
Well, I did use linen on these two as well because I really wanted them to. I was going to spend, a fair amount of money on the upholstery, so I didn't want to choose a fabric that I was going to get bored with. So again, like we've said so many times before, if I'm going to bring in a pop, it's going to be in a pillow or something like that. Like for the winter time, I've had the Mongolian fur pillows, which were in sort of a goldeny taupey color, which really brought out some of the nice colors in the linen sitting on the two of them. And then the summer I'll switch it out. But mine is a real nubby, oatmeal-y linen.
Beautiful. Well, and I've got several 4 leather French chairs as well. So
And
I
see,
love
for
that.
me, because of my style, it's not so much the fabric, although it has to be a nice quality of fabric. It's really all about color, motif, and the style of the motif. I just did a guest bedroom over our gable room, very, very, very neutral. And I'm waiting on a chair that I ordered that is done in neutrals with a little tiny bit of blue in it. And it's in a very stylized sort of mid-century modern, almost floral pattern, which is so kitschy. Like you said, I love things that are kitschy, but I think it's going to look really nice in there. And the nice part about it, the price was so good that, if in 3 years I get tired of it, well, I can either have it reupholstered or give it to somebody else.
yeah, there you go.
Oh, that sounds so pretty. That's the one where you have that's going to be beautiful in that room.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one where the draperies are perfect?
Yes.
And they have a little blue in them too, right? So that's
No, not the blue drapes. They're the
Those new
burlap
smock
drapes.
ones?
Yes,
Oh,
with the
so
smocking.
That's going to be great.
So I think that mixes that up a little bit. And that's another thing an accent chair does. I think you can mix styles. You can mix a pop of different pattern in it. You can do something fun, something whimsical, but also something that just plays nicely with the rest of your room and just fills a space beautifully, something beautiful to look at, like Kelly says, something with a soft linen on it. But one thing I'm going to do, girls, is I've never really given a bergère chair much thought. But I think I'm going to start looking for them because I have a couple places that I'd literally trade out chairs for.
Oh, I think it would work beautifully.
I think
in
you'd
your
like
house.
it. Get the ottoman.
Oh,
Get an ottoman with it. Now, do
Yeah.
you paint the wood on a lot of these chairs?
Well, this is the thing on the pair that I saw coming through the door was the patina on them was like no other. And so I know that when the gentleman reupholstered for me, he said, "Oh, you have some very, very fine chairs here. They're very old and they're in really great shape. But there's no way I could replicate that patina if I tried to get, so if I did an ottoman, it would probably have to be all upholstered. But you could, if you found ones with, not a very nice patina or just a flat color that you didn't like the color.
Are they
you could totally
stained
do
or
that.
painted?
Mine?
Your chair, yeah.
Well, it's some gilding. There was some other paint under it. I mean,
wow.
the
How
chippy
nice.
fabulous is
That sounds gorgeous.
It's beyond.
So I don't paint mine either. I mean, these old chairs, typically, like I said, they're fruit wood or walnut. I mean, I just don't want to paint over that. But, if it's on occasion, it's an ugly stain and I do paint, but that's really the exception.
Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add Dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. Potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT.
And I'm not opposed to painting anything. So if I find a chair I love, like if I go to, let's say if I go to, let's do Home Goods. If I go to Home Goods or Pier 1 and find something and I think, this wood just would not work. I love the chair. I'll bring it home and I'll paint it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here's a fun thing that I just did. I didn't even think about it when we were talking accent chairs, but in my daughter's room, it's dormered in a lot of the room. So you can't have a very high chair and you can't be sitting very high in the chair because you'll bonk your head. So I got one of those papasan chairs, those round chairs that sit in the bamboo from Pier 1.
Yes.
They've been around for forever.
Oh, my, yes. Mm-hmm.
And I know now they come in a lot of different colors. And I wanted it to be gold for her and her room. And so I
You have a thing
it.
with gold, Kelly.
I do. Well, her room is
and
very...
spray paint.
Yeah,
Yep.
so and I know that combination, gold spray paint. But her room is very neutral and with, the mirrored side end tables for either side of her bed.
Yes.
And then she has a beautiful chandelier. So the gold was just a nice pop. So I spray painted the papasan chair, which, and then I got the gray cushion for it. Well, it looks fabulous. And so that is a really inexpensive if you accent chair, like it can go bohemian. She's kind of got this like rustic, farmhouse glam sort of teenage thing going on. And she loves it. She curls up and reads her book or does her homework. It's fantastic. So definitely not afraid of spray paint here either. And one other thing I wanted to point out about an accent chair is maybe you want to think about it as something that's also movable. Maybe if people are, it sits in the corner a little further in the corner, so maybe people aren't generally drawn to it to sit down, but if you have people over for drinks or something, it's easy enough to pick up and move over.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a great way to use an accent chair too. Just have it be able to, move around your room and use it when you have extra company or somebody's doing a specific task on the other side of the room. They can just pick it up and move it over. So we've given you lots of tips, lots of sources, and we'll put all of that in the show notes for you so we can demystify picking out an accent chair. And remember, if you're in the market for tile, Thomas Avenue Ceramics is our sponsor of the episode today, and they are offering Decorating Tips and Tricks listeners 20% off your purchase using the code DTT20.
Okay, so remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
Hey Hey there, if you're loving our podcast like we're loving our podcast, we would love you to rate and review us. Head to iTunes to do that. It's easy and it would mean so much to us.